Yo, what's going on, guys? We're back today for another video. So it is once again that time of year where I'm going on a family camping trip coming up here for about a week's time. So while I'm gone, I'm going to have scheduled content every single day, and we're going to be doing the rankings for each champions in each class, each and every single class. Last year I did top 10. I think 2 years ago I was doing top 5. This year I've thought up something different. We're going to be doing basically like a top 8, but it's going to be top 5, 7 stars in a specific class, and then the top 3 of the 6 stars in that class. So we're going to do that for all 6 class types, and then once we're done with that, we're going to do a top 10 list for the top 10 best 6 stars in game, and then a top 10 list for the top 10 best 7 stars in game. So that should be about 8 videos of these in this ranking series. So gonna be doing it. It's gonna be a first for me doing it this way. I hope you guys like it and enjoy it. And one final massive disclaimer that I'm gonna have to give on every single one of these videos before we get into it is this is 1,000,000% my opinion, Legacy's opinion, based off of 7 years of playing this game hardcore in the end game. That doesn't mean my opinion is 100% factual or correct. It's based off my experience playing this game. That's why it's my opinion. It is totally fine to disagree with any of these rankings. All I ask is please keep it respectful in the comments. That's it. No need to be a jerk about it. It's totally cool if we all disagree. This game would be so boring if we all just agreed on every single thing, right? Okay, so we're going to be starting off with a bang in this series. We're going to be starting with what I think is the strongest class type in game, which is the science variety. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and begin with 6 stars, and then we'll jump to 7 stars, and then we'll see where they all rank in a top 8 list mixed with each other. 5, 6 stars, and 7 stars. Okay. So let's go ahead and start with the 6 stars. So top 3 best science 6 stars in MCOC. Coming in at the number 3 spot, we have Human Torch, the old god of the game, the old science goat. Human Torch, man, he's awesome. He really is. He was one of my favorite champions for the longest time in this game. When he first came out, he was extremely underrated, actually. But I've always liked him. I've always just thought that his pre-fight ability is insane. And it is. Even to this day, it is aged like fine wine. The only champion in the game I believe that's immune to Nova Flames is Iceman after his buff. Other than that, like, you can torch pre-fight just about anything, and it's awesome. And of course, he super excels in all those Mystic matchups. He's one of the best Mystic counters just out there. Definitely. The problem is that, there's a lot of really good science champions these days. Like I said, science is the most stacked class in the entire game. So being held back as a 6 star has definitely hurt Torch a little bit. Because when Torch is fighting those big Mystics, what does he need to do? The way and the reason why Torch excels against Mystics is whenever Torch blocks energy-based damage, he gains Smolders. Smolders make his Incinerates and Noble Flames longer and do more damage. But he has to block. So as a 6 star, when you're fighting and punching up, fighting against 7 star rank 3 defenders like Sasquatch, Kindred, these big Mystic tanks and annoying Mystic defenders, as a 6 star, Torch, there's a little thing in this game called Challenger rating, which is when you're, fighting a different star level. The higher star level has more Challenger rating. They have more stats and everything. You can see all the stats here. 7 stars just have higher base stats in every department. So that makes it a lot harder for Torch as a 6 star. He doesn't have any means to heal that block damage. He doesn't have any means to mitigate that block damage through his own abilities. You can apply like a Captain America relic to help with that a little bit. But if Human Torch was a 7 star, that would help him tremendously because first of all, he would just get the Challenger rating stat increase of being a 7 star, but also he would have access to stat focus, which then he could pick a specific stat to boost. And if I had a 7 star Human Torch, I think I would absolutely 100% be picking up block proficiency, so I could block more of those Mystic attacks and build my Smolders and finish with higher health. So Human Torch is still an incredible champion, but for all those reasons I listed, that's why he's not higher up. Alright, let's go ahead and now talk about the second strongest science 6 star champion, and that is Red Guardian. So on my main account here, Red Guardian is only rank 3 Sig 200, but on my second account, like Spiker, completely free to play, I have this man absolutely maxed out. He's rank 5, level 65, Sig 200, and Ascended. And even when I was using him at like a rank 4 Sig 60, he was blowing my mind. A rank 4 Sig 60 Red Guardian. Like, I went through, I don't know when exactly I got him, but once I pulled him, I went through all of Act 7, all of Act 8 with him, just at a rank 4 level, and he was keeping up just at that level. It was amazing. Red Guardian's buff is absolutely fantastic. If you guys have not already checked it out, I highly recommend looking into it. He is so much better now. Fun fact for you guys, Red Guardian was actually the OG, the first ever buff immune champion to be introduced into Marvel Contest of Champions. Of course, nowadays, it's not that rare of a thing to be immune to the effects of buffs. It's still rare, but there's a lot more champions that can do it. Whereas opposed when Red Guardian came out, he was the one and only. So when Red Guardian very first came out, he was pretty great because of that reason. That allowed him to do what no one else in the game could do. It allowed him to take Buffet, Spite, all these nodes that punish buffs. He could just do it. Now that's not really a flex because there's a lot of champs that can do it. But after his buff, Red Guardian does it really, really, really well. Plus, he has boatloads of damage. The Special 2 does so much damage. He has perfect block. He has slow. Like, his damage, utility is so much, man. So much going on with Red Guardian. It is fantastic. Some really big, fat yellow numbers. But also not just your big fat yellow numbers, big fat red numbers to match those yellow numbers with the trauma that he has access to. And you definitely want to Sig him up because the way the Sig works is just more debuffs on the opponent. They have to be unique, so different types, but they don't have to be Red Guardian specific. So they could be, debuffs from a Striker, a Relic. I'm running the Hulk Relic because every time I apply that, it applies like a physical vulnerability debuff. So if there's nodes, applying debuffs or anything like that, Red Guardian, that's going to increase his critical rate on his heavies and special attacks. Now, that was my biggest gripe with Red Guardian before he was buffed, was his crit rate was abysmal, and he relied on those crits, and he didn't really have a way to increase it. I still remember using probably a rank 3, or no, it probably would have been a 5-star. Yeah, it would have been a 5-star maxed out Red Guardian at this time. I was fighting a Doctor Doom mini-boss in Alliance War. 5-minute timer. I timed out. We were like equal rank. I timed out to a Doctor Doom mini-boss. I survived 5 minutes and didn't have enough damage to kill him. Like, that was a problem. And because, like, Doctor Doom has insane crit resistance, so I just couldn't do anything. Now, if you fight Doctor Doom's Regard, if you're max Sig, you are going to see some crits, because of this. On his heavies and special specifically. But that was definitely my biggest issue with Guardian, is just he didn't have the damage before. He had lots of great utility, but he just didn't have damage. Now he has the damage, and the utility's always been great, and it's just lifted up even more now by his damage. So yeah, I think Red Guardian was one of the best buffs of the year. I think at the end of the year I'm going to make a video ranking all the buffs. He's definitely going to end up pretty high on that. I don't know if he's going to win because there's been some other good buffs too, but that is Red Guardian coming in as the second best science 6-star in the game, in my opinion. All right, number 1, this is an absolute no-brainer, and that's Scorpion. I think Scorpion, I can't say enough good things about him. And I always hear, not always, but I see like in streams sometimes, like, did Scorpion fall off? And, I always say no. Scorpion, I think it's impossible for Scorpion to fall off. This guy is so strong. Like, full package. Scorpion has damage. He has skill expression to boost his damage. If you want to do the whole heavy charge into special intercepting, you can really amplify your damage by a lot if you do that. But what I love about Scorpion is you don't need to do that. You can just play him normally, and you're still going to get incredible results. In Battlegrounds, I just like to do medium combos, because each medium applies a debuff, and Scorpion has access to 3 different types of debuff: Poison, Rupture, and Shock. And whichever one he's not using, he gains the immunities to the other 2, which is just so powerful. Rupture immunity is one of the rarest immunities in the entire game. I think the only champion that's immune to it now is Spider-Punk, like fully. But before that, Scorpion was the only one. It's a super duper nice niche immunity to have. But on the flip side, it's one of the best damage sources to have because, like I just said, basically no one in the game is immune to Rupture outside of Scorpion and Spider-Punk. There's some other champions that, it's probably not going to be the best against, but for the most part, Rupture is one of the best damage sources in the entirety of the game. That's why I really like champions like Werewolf by Night and Spot, because that's how they do their damage. It's physical. A lot of champs have energy resistance, but not physical resistance. And the great thing about Scorpion is, regardless of whether they have physical resistance or energy resistance, it doesn't matter because he can switch his damage type. If they have energy resist and physical resistance, then his Ruptures and Shock won't work. Okay, then he can use his Poison. Like, he always has the right tool for the job. Not to mention, like, synergies. Not really going to be talking about synergies much because I don't think they matter much. But, if you do want to go down that rabbit hole, Scorpion can get even insaner with synergies for more damage and for more utility. He can get access to slow with one of his synergies as well. So that's interesting. But, he doesn't even need that. Like, Scorpion has so much good stuff. But I think my favorite thing about Scorpion is his healing, especially in areas like Battlegrounds where the total health that you finish with is so imperative to winning matches. I've had so many fights where I've gone down to like 50% in the fight with Scorpion, and then I finish with 100% and win. Because he's just able to heal it back. He does have to be awakened to be able to have access to that healing, but like literally Sig 1 is totally fine. He just needs to be awakened. The Sig level doesn't matter. And the other part of his awakened ability is he can block unblockables if he has his taunts up, and easy access to the taunts on the special one. So, like, yeah, a lot of utility with Scorpion. Low Sig's all he needs. I think he would make such a fantastic 7-star. But I 100% understand why Kabam hasn't released Scorpion as 7-star. I'm sure they're going to save him. Like, I can definitely see Scorpion being a 7-star someday, but I have a feeling Kabam's going to save him for, like, a really, really, really hype event where they can really make a ton of money. When Scorpion's finally was a 7-star. That's my prediction anyways. I don't know. But if I was in charge of Kabam, that's how I would be thinking and releasing Scorpion. Stepping into that business mindset. But yeah, that is our 3 6-stars. Alright, it's time to move up to the 7-star variety. Let's move up a level. Okay, let me just take a little drink. Okay. So, coming in at the 5th best Science 7-star in the game, in Legacy's humble opinion, and it has to be my first Science rank 3, and that is Spot. And some people might disagree with this. They might be putting someone else here and they don't have Spot in their top 5, and again, that's totally fine. I bet those people probably don't have a rank 3 Spot, but I do, and Spot is one of my absolute favorite champs in the entire game. I know how to use him better than most. I know a lot of little tips, tricks, little secrets with playing him. I definitely know how to get the most out of him for damage, utility. I've used him in so many Battlegrounds matches. He's won me so many Battlegrounds matches against some of the best players in the entire world because they just don't see Spot coming in certain matchups. And it's really easy to catch people off guard with him because he just does so much damage. One of the early comparisons I like to make with Cosmic Ghost Rider, was to Cosmic Ghost Rider as like the Science CGR because he's just such a nuke. CGR definitely the best at what he does. He's a very simple rotation and it doesn't really require AI cooperation, whereas Spot kind of does. But again, that's where being a good Spot player and having a full understanding of how to use Spot, when to portal block, how to manipulate the AI, that really goes a very, very long way with playing him. And I see, some people say, I take a lot of block damage with Spot. And, that definitely happens. If you aren't portal blocking at the perfect times, and I don't do it always. Not to say I'm like a perfect Spot player. I'm definitely not. But I definitely have had a lot of perfect fights with him. And when you do everything right and you get that AI cooperation, because you can manipulate it with him as well, you can have insanely fast fights, even faster than CGR sometimes, I've definitely beaten CGR in some races with Spot before. Spot can just counter a lot of very unique fights. Spot, what I love about him is he's great at countering Mystic fights. Sasquatch, Rinchra, Mangog, the big Mystic defenders. Spot's a great option for majority of them. But I don't even use Spot for Mystic matchups most of the time. He can really fight outside of class advantage. He really excels in destroying tech defenders like Shuri, Future Ant-Man, Red Skull, those annoying tech defenders, Spot just nukes them. No problem at all. Annoying champions like Onslaught, Spot's actually one of my best Onslaught counters. One of my favorites. It's a little bit of a sketchy fight, because if you have one Neuroshock on you, Onslaught will counter your miss. But again, that's where the skill expression comes into play with Spot, making sure you don't have any of those to safely take those missed hits. And then you can just kill him with like one fat special too, because Onslaught's weakness is physical damage, which Spot has. Spot can also go buff immune with his special 1. He can apply a buff immunity debuff to himself, which is some really interesting utility there, which also, since it's a debuff, allows him to heal from willpower. So Spot actually has regeneration if you have the willpower mastery through that. So that's one way to also be healing up that block damage, which is really nice. So yeah, I absolutely love Spot. You guys know how much I love Spot. I think he absolutely deserves to be in the top 5 best 7-star science champions. And, you know, he was my first 7-star rank 3 for a reason. I think he's that good. I think I've used him very well so far, and I'm excited to keep on using him and keep on ranking him up as 7 stars as we, you know, get more materials. All right, that was the 5th spot. Coming in at the number 4 best science 7-star champion in the game, in my opinion, and that is Titania. So my biggest, and some people might be thinking like, what? Why is Titania so low? She should be higher. And don't get me wrong, I think Titania is absolutely has potential to be higher up on this list. And if Titania was always consistent, she would be. But that's the most worst, terrible part about Titania, is she is not always consistent. Especially for me, dude. Like, Intimidate just seems to be broken. Doesn't seem to be working the way it should. And I don't even know if having multiple stacks of Intimidate like increases the defender's likeliness to throw a special. Like, I think it's the same. Like, whether you have 1 Intimidate or, for example, 4 Intimidates, like, I don't think that changes the percentage of the chance for the AI to throw their special. It might. I don't know. I don't know the numbers and the code and everything behind the scenes, but that's the way it seems. It seems like it doesn't matter. Which is silly, because, you know, Titania, after her special 3, she can stack up, you know, if you do her rotation correctly, she'll apply 2 Intimidates. If you get 1 heavy off, you can double that to 3 or 4. I don't know. Yeah, it's 3, 2 or 3. And, like, your opponent shouldn't be throwing their special. You know, as long as it's not a special 3, even if it is a special 3, they still should have a reduced chance. But it just doesn't seem to happen. And the weird thing is, like, it's champion dependent. Like, for example, Dr. Doom. If you fight a Dr. Doom with Titania, and let's say you fight a Sasquatch with Titania, do both those fights 10 times, and I would bet you money that after your special 3, Dr. Doom will throw his specials more than Sassy will. I would seriously bet money on that, because I know the AI biases. That's how the AI is. Dr. Doom will 100% throw his special more often after Titania special 3 than Sasquatch will. Like, I would bet good money on that. I would bet an Odin on that. Why is that? It shouldn't matter. That shouldn't matter. Like, so that's my biggest issue with Titania. I think Kabam, I've heard people say they're looking in, Kabam's looking into Intimidate or something. I haven't heard that officially. I don't know if that's true or not. But hopefully they do. And if they make some type of change to Intimidate, I think that'd be massive for Titania, and then I could see her going higher. But she's just way too inconsistent for me. Again, this is all my opinion. I haven't even been running Titania in my deck as of late because she's just so inconsistent. I would rather use different champions that I don't have to worry about their consistency. If I play a champion correctly, you know, like, I don't want to lose a fight because the AI decided to throw their special. Like, that just really pisses me off when I lose in that way. So that's why Titania is so low on the list. She definitely has a lot of potential to go higher. She has, you know, Haymakers alone, plus being buff immune, is insane utility to have. And she's fantastic, but it's really Intimidate holding her back, in my opinion. That's why she is not any higher on the list. Okay, coming in at the number 3 spot, 3rd best science 7-star, we have the man who smashes, and that is Hulk. So I recently took up Hulk to rank 3, unduped, and I ranked him up, and then I had like 2 or 3 or 4 science class crystals to open. So, you know, I thought if I just ranked him up to rank 3, then open the science class crystals, I would guarantee a dupe on him. But no, that did not happen. So now I have an unduped rank 3 Hulk, which bugged me a little bit at first because I really wanted the awakened ability, because I think Hulk is actually a really good defender awakened, especially max sig or like a high sig. I think Hulk is a very, very powerful defender because he is RNG based when you fight him. What that means, is you can fight Hulk 5 times, and all 5 of those fights could look very differently, even though you're using the exact same champion, because it depends when he triggers his Furies, and ultimately, once he's triggered 15, then he triggers a passive Unstoppable. And, like a Battlegrounds setting, and Hulk being who he is, if he hits you one time, you're going to lose the match. Probably. Hulk hits very, very hard. Also, if he clips you with his special one, you're just stun locked and you're dead. Like, that can happen. But yeah, the Unstoppable RNG, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And it can really screw you over. It can just kill you. So Hulk, I think, is a very underrated defender, which is why I really wanted him duped. Hulk's probably one of my most wanted dupes in the whole game right now. But at the same time, it's okay that he's unduped, because he's still an absolute monster on attack. I'm really excited for Hulk for the next 2 Battlegrounds metas. The next one is you don't really want to be using like energy-based champs, or I think they changed one of the nodes. But so physical attackers are going to be good. Hulk, his damage is all physical. And then 2 metas from now, it's going to be crit me with your best shot. And I still remember that meta. That was the meta where I, pushed for top 8 for the Battle Round Brawl, qualified and everything. I remember using, I think it was a rank 4 6-star Hulk at the time, and he was unreal. He was just by far one of the best Man-Thing counters, who's a crazy good defender in that meta. But even in other matchups, like I remember fighting like Warlocks with Hulk, and they went and it was insane. Like, getting intercept and you have guaranteed crits. Hulk with guaranteed crits is just, it's nasty, bro. It's so insane. Hulk, he's got the stun locking capability, which is very, very, very powerful. The great thing about Hulk, just get your special 3, throw that, you apply a fat physical vulnerability, and you just start doing so much damage. So much damage. And it's wonderful. The special 1 for the stun lock, the special 2 for the big damage, and the special 3 to, trigger the big physical vulnerability and just get your Furies, get into that Gamma Rage quicker. So I think Hulk, one of the best buffs we've ever seen. Top 5 for sure. Hulk's fantastic. But I just think the other champions above him, there's only 2, they're just a different breed. So let's talk about them. Coming in as the 2nd best Science 7-star in the game, it is another one of my rank 3s, and that is Photon. So, man, me and Photon have a very interesting relationship. I hated her. I despised this champion for so long. And when her rebalancing came around, I was hoping she would get tuned down. And she didn't. And I'm really glad that she didn't. When she was rebalanced, I would just perma-banned her. I never actually learned how to fight her, so I didn't truly understand what went into fighting her and countering her and everything like that. Ever since she was rebalanced, I stopped banning her to start getting used to it. And then eventually, I pulled her, ranked her up, started using her myself. And one of the big turning points in my relationship with Photon, I would say, is on my second account, like Spiker. I pulled her as a 6-star fairly early on. And like, just at a rank 2 6-star level, she was so good as an attacker, especially in like questing, because you can carry over her charges to the next fight, which I really, really like. It's kind of similar to like Captain Marvel movie, but it's Fury passives. It's in the science class. I love it. And I still remember I was stuck. I was stonewalled on the 6.3 Captain America Infinity War boss. It has crit me with your best shot, so you need to be doing critical hits to do damage, and it also has destructive feedback, so there's like a protection, and he takes no damage while it's active. But the way that note's supposed to work is, when it wears off, all the damage stored up in it, they take that damage, but because it's crit me with your best shot, he only takes damage from yellow numbers, so all the damage stored up, even if it's crits in there, like, he doesn't take the damage. So I was just kind of stuck on that. I didn't really have anyone good for it. and I ended up using my 6-star rank 2 Photon for it. And the reason she was doing it was because like Photon just has so much in her kit. And on her heavy attack, where does it say her heavy attack here? Where is it? I don't know why it's not listed here. But on her heavy attack, she applies a Sunder debuff, which lowers the opponent's crit resistance, I believe. I believe that's what it does. So it allows you to crit more easily. And so that is like how I got through that fight. Without Photon there, like I would have been so screwed. Like that was the moment where I really got my eyes open to like, wow, this champion has so much in her kit, so much utility. She's very great on attack. I would say she's not. I'd say she's great at attack and questing. Personally, I haven't found her to be as good of an attacker as I've heard of other people hype her up to be in Battlegrounds. Maybe that's because I haven't used her as much on attack. Maybe I need to do that more. So my opinion could change on that a little bit. But yeah, I think Photon, you know, everything we just said so far is about her mainly as an attacker. And she's an incredible defender. You know, I thought that Photon started to fall off a little bit as a defender, but that was me using my 6-star and 7-star rank 2. After taking her to rank 3, she is still top defender, man. Even with the counter, like it's a lot sketchier. It's very similar to Maestro in that when I had rank 2 Maestro, you know, he wasn't really doing anything for me on defense, but as soon as I took him to rank 3, that just changed everything. And it makes sense because Photon and Maestro both want the fight to go on longer to really start screwing you over. With Maestro, you know, it's his all of his buffs and charges that he gains, and eventually start dealing like passive energy damage to you when you're close to him. And with Photon, of course, it's building up her pure light form, and then if she throws specials in that, you're gonna take some damage. So yeah, highly recommend rank 3 Photon. She was my latest rank 3, and so far, like, she's really good for the current Battlegrounds meta, and every time I put her on defense, she's just surprised me, surpassed my expectations of her. So yeah, Photon, really one of the most well-rounded science champs in the game. Very powerful defender, great attacker, sweet utility, bleed immunity, which is fantastic. Yeah, Photon, so good. But I do believe that there is one 7-star science champion better than Photon. The best 7-star science champion in the entirety of MCOC. Out of all the champs available here as science 7-stars, one truly stands out above the rest to me. Again, my opinion from all my experience playing and everything, the pig, Spider-Ham. Which is crazy because this champion is so old, and yet he's number 1. Why is Spider-Ham number 1? Well, first of all, his damage is unreal. It's colossal damage, and he has some of the best damage source in the game. Power Sting. Like, Power Sting is so good because I think the only champion immune to Power Sting that comes to mind, it's Namor. There's a few. Kitty, well phased. Namor, Sig 200, and Bullseye at Sig 200. But, you know, there's not many champions that, you know, can get around Power Sting damage. So it's one of the most strongest damage sources in the entirety of MCOC. It's very unique. And I think, without a doubt, Spider-Ham is the best, you know, Power Stinging champion for that type of damage. Like, he just does, like, so much damage. I literally had a fight in Battlegrounds last season where I put down my Red Skull and my opponent had CGR. So I knew he was going to go through that fight in like 30 seconds, you know, so I knew I had to be fast. I fought a rank 3 Ebony Maw with the pig, and I killed him in like 24 seconds. I killed him by baiting out just one special attack. He threw one special and then he died. A rank 3 7-star Ebony Maw in Battlegrounds. Like, that is the amount of damage that this guy can do. He can take Sasquatch, the biggest, highest health defender in the game, in like 30 some seconds with some decent RNG and some decent AI cooperation. Like, the damage from the pig is insane. And a lot of people might be thinking like, well, why is the pig so good now? You know, the pig has been in game for years. Why wasn't he this good when he came out? And I think part of it is, you know, just like when Torch came out, the community didn't realize how good he was right away either. It takes time for some champions to really get in the spotlight. So I think that's part of it. But I think a really big aspect in it is relics. You know, relics did not exist when Spider-Ham came out. And I would say Spider-Ham is beefed up by maybe the strongest relic in the game, which is the Ant-Man relic here. So this, I think, is what truly puts the pig to the top. I think, you know, without this relic, I don't think I would have the pig in the #1 spot for 7 stars. I think I'd have Photon above him. But this relic brings him up to that level and above. So let's go over what this relic does. So the very first thing is when you use the striker button, what'll happen is the last hit inflicts a Power Sting debuff for 16 seconds. An opponent with Power Stings takes 3,000 direct damage if they activate special attack. So just by activating your striker, you just apply an additional Power Sting, which is nice. You know, if you have the relic awakened, you get the innate ability, which is a nanotech upgrade. So when a Power Sting debuff deals damage to the opponent, gain the following effects for the rest of the fight up to 6 times. Plus 55 attack rating while the opponent is just has a Power Sting debuff, and plus 275 direct damage burst on Power Sting debuff damage. So you get more attack rating for the rest of the fight, and then more direct damage on your Power Stings. So that's just with, you know, utilizing the striker and the awakened ability of the striker. Then we still have all these other parts. So here we have, these are both good options. We have Spite Stinger, inflicting a Power Sting debuff, also inflicts a taunt passive, which is nice. But personally, I don't run that. I run Twin Stinger here. So when you inflict a Power Sting debuff, you inflict an additional Power Sting debuff lasting 16 seconds. An opponent with Power Sting takes 1,200 damage. So at the start of a fight with a pig, whenever you trigger your first Power Sting, you get an additional one. So right at the gate, as soon as you get one, you're at 2. So that's nice. And then these parts really boost it. So the one I'm running here is its plus almost 10% Power Sting debuff potency. And this one here plus 9%, almost 10% Power Sting debuff duration. So it can just stay longer. And then the other one here that I'm not running is you can lower the opponent's special attack. But yeah, so you can increase the duration of Spider-Ham's Power Stings. You can increase the potency of them. You can increase how many you're triggering. You can increase his attack. Like, this just scales with him so crazily. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, man. He's such a good champion, and this relic just truly boosts him to the next level. And on top of everything we just mentioned, you know, what I really love and why I think Spider-Ham is the best Power Sting type champion, because he can pause them. You know, the stressful thing about Power Sting is, you know, trying to bait that special at the opponent and they won't throw it, which is really frustrating when a bunch of your stings fall off, you know. With the pig, if you just throw his special one, any porker poppers on the opponent, and I'm pretty sure this is including to all the ones from the relic as well, they're just paused. Just paused until they throw a special. Like, that just makes pigs so much fun to play. And that I utilize the special one. I pretty much only use a special one. I don't like before, you know, when I used to use Spider-Man, I always thought the special 2 was the best. No, special 1 all the way. Pause those porker poppers, push the opponent above 2 bars, bait that, and big damage. And on top of everything we just mentioned, you know, Spider-Ham is a great defender too. He's not the best defender, but he can definitely cause some problems. And in some specific metas, he can be a really nasty defender. So, yeah, those are our 8 Science champions of the 6-star and 7-star variety. Now, let's take a look where I rank all of them, just on a 1 to 8 list. Let's see. So, here's what I have. Scorpion number 1, Spider-Ham number 2, Photon number 3, Hulk number 4, Titania number 5, Spot number 6, Redguard number 7, Human Torch number 8. So this might surprise some people, but yeah, I genuinely think Scorpion is still the strongest science champion in the game, regardless of star level. Even though he has to punch up, even though he's 6-star locked, I still think he hangs and is better than all these other Science champions. Genuinely, that's how good I think Scorpion is. I think there's a very good reason why Kabam hasn't released Scorpion as a 7-star yet, because he is that powerful. He's so strong, dude. I genuinely think he's the best 7-star, or sorry, the best Science champ still in the game. Yeah, I think it's close between Ham and Scorp, but ultimately, I think Scorpion's utility just gets him here. Just, the triple immunity potential, the damage source switching from physical to energy to poison. Like, he just covers so much ground. He's just a Swiss Army knife of utility and damage. That's the best way to summarize Scorpion, in my opinion. And I do think he is the strongest Science champion, period. So guys, that is going to go ahead and do it for my list. Top 8 Science champions in MCOC, 6 and 7-star variety. Let me know what you guys think. Again, this is all completely my opinion. Started off with Science. I think I'm just going to go in order for like class, disadvantage, and advantage. So skill will be next, then mutant, then tech, and we'll keep on going like that. And then towards the end of the series, we'll rank top 10 best 6-star champs and top 10 best 7-star champs through all the class types. You guys can see where I rank those. So yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it for this video. Drop a thumbs up if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want to see more content, and please let me hear your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, but please do keep it respectful. You can express any opinion you like, just do it nicely. No need to be a jerk. Hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching. Peace.